Today is Saturday, December 31st, 2022. New Year's Eve 2023. Today we finish up our creationist, evolutionist story. I'm Adoni the evolutionist. I evolve protons, electrons, neutrons, neutrinos. I evolved them from the God particle 1. The God particle 1 I define as the tiniest particle of mass in the universe, okay? I define it at about a quintillionth the mass of the electron, okay? Yes, a quintillionth, okay? That's a very tiny amount of mass. And it could be smaller. It could be of Planck length, okay? Not Planck mass, because Planck mass is more. Now, the Planck constant, the Planck mass, they're all for a different discussion. So how do I evolve? So we start with the universe. We start with the universe, a universe in a finite volume. Okay. Today we know from the Hubble flow redshift discovery that the universe could be as much with a diameter of 28 billion light years. Now, Hubble denied that the Hubble flow redshift was Doppler redshift. What that means is that the universe, the galaxies are not physically expanding, okay? The Hubble flow redshift is a function of the distance the light travels. As light travels, physicists know that matter will redshift light. They know that gravitational force will redshift light. They may not know that expanding voids, okay? Voids exhibit dark energy. From the dipole repeller discovery, they're expanding. Now, I say that as matter heats up, it generates gravity, and in the process of generating gravity, it stores dark energy. So my postulate is, with respect to voids in the cosmic webs, is that at a certain point, the overdensities will stop heating up and will start cooling. And once they start cooling, the galaxies and supercluster, instead of crunching, they're gonna separate. The dark energy is gonna come out, and we know this to be a fact from the history of our sun. Our sun, from a hydrogen-helium molecular cloud, collapsed. As it collapsed, it heated up. And I say the initial heat came from the CMBR, and that the matter in the cloud focused the omnidirectional rays from every point in space, focused them in the center. The center heated up. It generated gravity. It made matter denser. As matter gets denser, it heats up. And that heating up of matter created more gravity, and gravity grew exponentially, and that led to the collapse of the cloud. So it's a fact that both gravity and and our sun's cloud, hydrogen molecular cloud mass, heated up, and that generated gravity. Okay, they do it in reverse, but you can do it either way. Okay, so my postulate cannot be disproven because our sun has been generating gravity for the past 5 billion years since it was a hydrogen-helium molecular cloud at 10 degrees Kelvin. Okay, and it's been heating up, and it's been generating gravity, and it's going to continue to generate gravity for another 5 billion years, okay? And it's going to heat up by 6% each billion years. So in 5 billion years, our sun is going to be 30% hotter, and during that period, it's going to generate gravity. But once our sun starts cooling, once the matter in the sun starts cooling, then it's going to become a red giant, and that stored potential dark energy comes out. Okay, there's no way to disprove my postulate that as matter heats up, gravity is generated, and as matter cools, dark energy that was stored during the generation of gravity is released, okay? And it conserves energy. So there's no dark matter, and there's no dark energy. Well, there is dark matter because physicists do not consider neutrinos as being matter that heats up. So if you add neutrinos, if you make neutrinos a dark matter, and we know that neutrinos oscillate in mass and flavor and size, okay? And so what I say happens is the radiant energy from stars in a galaxy heats up the neutrinos, and the neutrinos are matter particles, and those matter particles are the dark energy that heats up, that generates gravity while storing dark energy. So then you can go to the dipole repeller void and extrapolate to all the cosmic voids and say voids are cooling and they're generating dark energy, and overdensities are heating up and they're generating gravity and crunching. So it's not that the whole universe is expanding. It's that overdensities are crunching and storing dark energy while voids are cooling and expanding and storing potential gravity. So as voids cool, they store potential gravity. And they make pristine new neutrons that negate to hydrogen from neutronium and the neutronium inside black holes. That's for another episode, okay? So we're talking about the evolution of God particle ones, GP1s, okay? A quintillionth the mass of the electron. They, in a finite in volume universe, the universe developed a motion. The greatest pressure for the GP1s would be in the center of the universe, of our finite universe. And there, the GP1s combined into strings, and that created a pressure, a greater pressure, a greater entropy. And as entropy increased in our finite in volume universe, more GP1s hooked up together and formed strings. Eventually, the strings got woven into sacs, and then eventually the first sterile neutrino was born. Okay, now there is a sterile neutrino that's different from a GP1. Okay, now that's postulated. Okay, we just don't have the technology to measure sterile neutrinos. Okay, and we don't have the technology to measure GP1s, but we know they must exist because they are the medium of electromagnetic waves. So the GP1s serve several functions. One, they give space structure. Okay, so the universe is, could be up to 28 billion light years in diameter, okay, as determined by the Hubble flow redshift. Now, Hubble, for the entirety of his life, said it is not Doppler redshift, so that means the universe as a whole is not expanding. But from the dipole repeller void, we know that voids are expanding. And we know that overdensities are crunching, okay? So you have the overdensities crunching, and you have the voids expanding. That's how you get the cosmic web. And over infinite time, the overdensities are going to become voids, and the voids are going to become overdensities in conservation of energy. So where are we? We have the GP1. It gets woven into strings over infinite time. The strings get woven into sacs. We get the first sterile neutrino. Eventually, the pressure increases in the center as entropy increases throughout the universe, as more GP1s hook up into strings. Pressure increases, entropy increases, and eventually the strings get woven into sterile neutrinos. Eventually, over infinite time, the sterile neutrinos evolve to neutrinos. Over infinite time, the neutrinos evolve into electrons. And over infinite time, the electrons, some of the electrons evolve into up quarks, and then an up quark and an electron combine to form a down quark. Okay, we know that the up quark and the down quark are made up by. We know a down quark is made up by an up quark and an electron neutrino. We know this because the electron neutrino is indestructible, and when it's spit out of a neutron, when an electron, not an electron neutrino, when an electron is spit out of a neutron, and the neutron becomes proton, okay? When it becomes a proton, you end up, instead of a neutron, you end up with an indestructible proton permeable sac and an indestructible electron permeable sac. What that means is that the electron had to be indestructible while it was inside the neutron permeable sac, okay? And quarks cannot survive outside the neutron proton envelopes, okay? You need the sacs. You need a sac. Once a neutron sac is broken, once a proton sac is broken, then the valence quarks disappear, okay? So what I say is that the down quark is a combo. It's a combo between an up quark and an indestructible electron sac. This must be because the electron, when inside the neutron permeable sac must be indestructible, because it's indestructible when it's spit out of the neutron sac. So a neutron decays into an indestructible proton permeable sac and an indestructible electron permeable sac. So we're up to the evolution of electrons from neutrinos, and then up quarks a little bit larger than electrons. So we evolve to up quark and electron combos, and those combos evolved to neutrons, and neutrons are made up of 3 valence quarks in a sac surrounded by GP1s and maybe neutrinos and a whole bunch of other stuff. But the main point is that a neutron evolved, and it evolved in such a way that an embryonic neutron, once it becomes mature and gets pumped up by the CMBR to absolute zero. Okay, the neutronium in a neutron star is at 300 trillion Adoni Kelvin degrees below absolute zero. Once that neutronium in a neutron star warms up to absolute zero, one solar mass may yield 18 solar masses of pristine neutrons that decay to pristine hydrogen. Okay, that's how neutrons and protons are minted. They're minted in the cores of stars. So whatever gets lost through proton-antiproton interactions is replaced. It's replaced, okay? So our universe is going to grow on forever. Indestructible products have to be minted. They have to evolve. They have to be minted, and they have to evolve. They can't just be miraculously pulled out of vacuum by an unknown energy source. It's just not possible. Has to be minted. So that's how we got the nucleons. Then from nucleons we got stars, and then the stars, and then we got supernovas, and then we got neutron stars. We got iron, and the neutron stars make gold, and white dwarf explosions, type 1A supernova may make some gold, and then black holes and stuff make uranium and stuff, and all that stuff was made over infinite time, and some of it got into the cloud that formed our sun, and then a lot of matter got pulled in, a lot of iron from supernova explosions, and then those globs of iron and stuff got together, and then the gravity brought in the oxygen, and then we got water, and then once we got water on the planet, and we got land, then we evolved from amoebas. Okay, but the whole process is an evolution process. It's an evolution process from the very small to the nucleon level, and then from the nucleon level to the star level. Okay, because you have to make iron, you have to make uranium, you have to make all the elements that are in our Earth. Okay, and once all those elements are made, and then once you get enough supernova explosions, then you can collapse a molecular cloud, and you can form our sun. And then as the sun forms, the planets form. And then once, in 4.6 billion years ago, our Earth formed. So my evolution story from the God particle one in an ageless, finite universe explains how we evolved from amoebas to perhaps intelligent human beings. Talk more later. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. 2023, I expect to get out 365 new videos, okay? They're all going to have a little different twist. I mean, the same thing. It's going to be about evolution. It's learn the true story, origins of the universe, and you also learn the true story about my origins. I evolved from an amoeba, and we have amoebas in common. Talk more later. Have a wonderful, happy new year. 2023. It's going to be a great year. Great year, 2023. Bye.